Hi, welcome to the garden. It is Saturday, June 24th, and you know what that means. We're going to do a quick review of this garden, then we're going to go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. I was also asked a couple questions about what can we plant in June and still have a good harvest. So we're also going to look at 5 things you can plant in late June and still have a good harvest. So come on, let's plant.
If you have a bare spot or a trellis that needs something, cantaloupe is a good thing to plant late June. We're going to put a few more cantaloupe in, and that way when these finish up, we'll have more coming in behind them. The cantaloupe do really well on a trellis.
Another popular melon that's not really thought of as a late June planter, watermelon. I got a spot over here on the trellis. We're going to go ahead and plant some sugar baby. They don't get very big, so you don't need all that time to ripen up. So let's get a couple of those in the ground. Just like everywhere else, let's pull this mulch back to the bare soil. Look at the worms in there.
Just look at these worms. There's a whole bunch of them in here. Thank you. I mean, look at that soil. That's what the deep mulch will do to your soil.
I'm only going to plant a few right here next to the trellis. We'll see what we get.
Even though that soil is good and damp, we're going to give them a nice little drink.
But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of our friends and neighbors around the world and see what they're doing in their garden. Scott's first lotus bloomed this week, followed by a wonderful bouquet. These lotus are breathtaking, and I'm simply mesmerized by them. Unfortunately, they only last a couple days. Thank you so much for showing us the possibilities even in Oklahoma. Those lotus are simply amazing. Oh yeah, Scott also has a food garden. His tomatoes will be ripening soon. Nora's landscaping is filling in nicely. I still think the use of the spilled garden motif is genius. Thank you for the inspiration and the creative ideas. Art asks a simple question. What do you do when you plant too many seeds? Well, of course, you enlarge your garden. And when you've got extra leaves, you can really enlarge your garden. Art, you're going to need to for all those slips. Those need to be in the ground. And I think your daughter missed a couple squash while you were gone. And yeah, you say that little red pepper isn't hot. I'll bet it's blistering hot. That's great, Art. Thank you. Those are fantastic. I've got a yellow zucchini here and one back there that look like they're just about ready to harvest. And a couple other things you can plant in late June and still have a decent harvest is crookneck, zucchini, the other summer squashes. These grow really fast. And while these are really nice plants right now and they're producing, we want to have some coming up behind them. So we're going to go over here and we're going to put a few seeds in the ground and see what we get. Right in here where we took our purple cabbages, we've got our sweet potato patch off over here. We're going to be harvesting these seeds shortly, and that's going to open this area up. So we're going to put a couple plants right here and see what we get. And so how do you plant in the deep mulch? You just pull that mulch back down to bare soil. And you know, I like to plant heavy. So I'm going to do 2 hills. And make 2 little dents there. Put 2 seeds over here, and I'll thin them out, or not, when they both come up. You've been following my story. I'm not real good at following through and thinning out. And we've been doing pretty good that way. Once something starts growing, it's real hard for me to pull it up. Not too close together in case they both germinate. Light little bit of soil on them. I'm going to put a little heavier mulch on these. When these come up, they will push through. And I want to make sure they stay good and moist. So it's still very thin, but it's more than I put over on the watermelons. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors around the world. Mike and Linda's Texas Deep Mulch Garden beckons us to take a tour. That's such a fun chicken. Your garden has been stunning all spring and continues to sing the praises of the deep mulch. We look forward to many amazing harvests to come. Thank you. Denise's wall of flowers, her raised beds, And her herb containers, they show no signs of that early hailstorm that set her back so far. Denise, this is all coming along very nice. Thank you for the great ideas.
Yeah, we got some butternut coming on. That is wonderful. Almost as wonderful as our friends and neighbors' gardens. If you want to see something that's even more amazing, check this thing out. Yeah, I have no idea. If this is a giant butternut squash, it's going to get huge. We got another one right over here, and there's one on the ground. And I haven't even dug down in here to see if we got anything. So far, the trellis idea worked. I was kind of expecting a zucchini, but this is what makes it fun. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors around the world.
Larry and Michelle's North Carolina container, in-ground, landscape garden is in full swing as we move into summer. I know your pepper harvest is going to be impressive. And you're still getting great berry harvests. Thank you, Larry and Michelle, for sharing your garden with us. Walter's friend shows us that he believes in no harm to the wildlife, but his garden is too small to really share, so Walter made some creative use of fencing and trellising to achieve this amazing result in his mini deep mulch garden. Simply amazing, Walter. And I'll bet your friend's disappointed he's not getting fresh cucumbers.
Yeah, we got two coming on there, and a yellow zucchini with Swiss chard on both sides. Companion planting's a wonderful thing. Yeah, you can't be there. Oh! The work our friends and neighbors put into their gardens is definitely apparent. Please leave a comment down below and let everybody know just how much you appreciate them sharing what's going on in their garden. See, you come out and you move a vine, and look what you find. And I'm going to take this one. That is awesome. Our first pickle. You can't be going that direction. You need to go that direction. Now, there's a couple other things you can plant in late June and still have a decent harvest. You can plant corn. There are several varieties that mature very quickly. We got plans to put some more in right at the beginning of July and then in the middle of July. That's what we've done the last couple of years. And that way we get corn all summer long. It's a really good system. But take a look at the peas here on this trellis. And in this heat, and they produce quite a few peas for us, they are kind of suffering. And I expect them to be done pretty quick, although we are seeing new growth and flowers at the top. But here's what we can do. We're going to plant some beans since we got a Japanese beetle. Brief intermission. Japanese beetle. Little bitty guy. Fluorescent. That will eat the tar out of your garden. I'm going to need to spray with some more neem oil. Those pretty little critters are not to be confused with the June beetles, which are quite a little bit bigger and don't really eat your plants. Their life cycle is based off of eating dead things under the ground in the grubworm stage. When you see the June beetles, the bigger ones flying around, they're just looking to mate. Now what we just looked at, that Japanese beetle, is much smaller and it will wreak havoc on tons of different kinds of plants. And it really likes fruit more than anything, so beware of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to intercrop a couple different things. Now I just picked our very first cucumber. The cucumbers are vining nicely, but we want to make sure we have cucumbers all summer long. So half of this trellis I'm going to put some cucumbers in, and the other half I'm going to plant beans because we've already got that volunteer bean coming up. So we'll go ahead and get a few seeds in the ground here. And this, we just pull back a little bit in between the seeds down. Get soil contact. And that's good and moist underneath there. Put the mulch back. These come up through the mulch pretty easy. So while I finish planting these, let's go ahead and take a look at another one of our friends.
Valerie's Texas garden had a breath of cool air this week. It only hit in the mid-90s. And what do you do after looking after some of the flowers in the garden? Why, of course, you make pasta sauce. And then you get right back out to it. You do a bit of work. That's correct. Harvesting, the hardest work you're going to do. Valerie, this is incredible. And when your garden is simply blessed, you can come in and cool off with a nice slice of melon. Valerie, this is incredible, and we sure do thank you for the inspiration and the ideas.
Aren't our friends and neighbors incredible? Hit that like button. That'll let YouTube send this out to more people that might want to learn how to garden. There's 2 other crops you can plant in late June and still have a decent harvest. Has anybody ever said you can't have enough beets? And carrots, which we've just put in. It's still too early to look up underneath the cardboard, but you want to make sure you keep those good and moist. And I invite you to join us. Let us celebrate what's going on in your garden. All you have to do is email me at waylandsmalley5@gmail.com. I guarantee you all other gardeners would love to see what you're doing in your garden. You can do this too. Still not too late. You can still put your garden in. We hope you share with us. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. If you'd like to learn about the living soil, click that link right there and I'll meet you back in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.